Hey fam!
Let's be
3D.
Hey fam, welcome to, this is episode 5
It is.
of Let's Be 3D. How about that? 5 episodes in. Hope you guys are having a great day whenever you're listening to this. Welcome, and we are the family Sowell, at least part. Two-thirds. I think that's the correct fraction.
Right.
The family Sowell. And my name's John Mark, and I am a co-host of Let's Be 3D, and my other co-host is...
Wow, that was a lot of S's there. Yeah.
We're going to go ahead, roll call it so you know who you're listening to right here on my left.
Joshua Sowell
What's
here.
up?
Glad to be here. It is a awesome hump day.
It's an awesome hump day.
Yes,
Abby here on John Mark's right.
that's right.
Yes.
Right.
And
And
right on the far
on the
side
far
of the
right.
table.
On the far right.
Jacob here.
Yes,
What's
what's
up?
up, y'all? So this is the peoples for Let's Be 3D, and we have
Yes.
just had earthquake on the ground floor. I think we heard something. Anyway,
We are
It's all
coming in
good.
live from Peace Love Fam Studios.
that's right. This is
Yes.
In our
this is
basement.
real. This is 3D,
in our basement.
unedited,
Yeah.
everything.
In our
Unedited.
basement. Oh, yeah. I don't take
You might
any
not
of
have
this
heard
out.
that though, but there was a
Just
Nah,
probably-
it happens.
anyway.
It's all good.
anyway.
So, what
Interesting
is...
noises are heard at the family Sowell headquarters.
Right. Yes.
From everything. Anyway,
Yes.
so
What is the topic?
today, Josh was like, can we get to the point, please? So today we are talking about why music, why we do what we do, why music is what we do. So, you know, the passion behind our music, how it's transformed over the years into what we just did as an extra curricular activity for
Yeah.
school into our lifestyle.
Right.
So,
We've talked a lot about how we got into it, but now we want to really get into the why
Right.
and why we continue to do it and, you know, just our motivation in it. And, you know, also little sneak peek for the end, we'll be talking about your why. You know, we all have God-given gifts. We all have a God-given purpose. And the way we live out that purpose to glorify Him, to honor Him, to have a relationship with Him can look different. But it doesn't mean one is greater than another. So, you know, God chose music for us, but what did He choose for you? And we're going to get into that more later.
wonderfully said, Abigail.
Thank you.
That's perfect.
So stay
it's-
tuned.
Yes, stay
Stay
tuned, people.
tuned.
Thank you for listening. Thank you again for joining us. And so, let's be 3D. Here
Woo.
we go. So, you guys have known, if you've listened to the previous episodes, which if you haven't, make sure you go listen to those and then come back. It started, you guys know how we started on the piano
Yes.
and the tenor banjo band and all of that. But like I mentioned, it was really just an extracurricular activity for
Exactly.
school.
Right.
Their mom and dad were at a parent, what is the word? Conference? No.
It wasn't a parent
Seminar.
teacher conference. It was,
It was
yeah,
some
a
kind of seminar.
parenting seminar, homeschool seminar, something like that.
Something like that. And the speaker said that music makes you smarter.
Mozart meets baby smart.
Smarter. That is right.
We just watched that.
I wish my parents played Mozart when I was a baby because half the time I don't know what anybody's talking about. Anyway.
Sorry, we are doing a Pixar marathon, by the way.
Yes, by the
and
way,
we
great
just
movies.
finished The Incredibles. That was like our 5th movie.
Yes, and it was
Woo, I was right on that.
incredible.
It
Good
Oh,
one.
come on. That was
It's one of
good.
my
Actually
favorites.
The sixth one. Sixth
Oh,
movie.
6?
Mhm.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Never mind. I
just
wasn't
felt
right.
obliged
Oh,
to.
Inform me that.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
But that was
Anywho.
the thing, and of course,
That sold
mom
dad
with
on it.
the music and the piano. But yes, that sold dad on
That
it.
was like,
hey,
oh, it makes them smarter? Let's do
let's
it.
do it.
Do you
Yes.
know how it makes you smarter?
Tell us, John.
Tell
Because
us.
it helps you with your auditory. It helps you
almost-
with your visual,
You're using
works
auditory,
all of your
visual,
senses.
and
tactile.
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 I
It
didn't
works
know the
all of
name
that
of
at
the
the same
senses.
time.
Honestly, I just thought enough. If you heard me snort, I was thinking of another maybe quote.
Do you want to say it?
It helps with my pubescent
Please.
moves.
Swing.
Anyway.
Well, that is
True,
very
though.
true.
Well,
Yeah.
music is a great way to connect on things. But back to, starting our why when we started was, like Jamark said, extracurricular. We all enjoyed it. I kind of knew in my heart that I would be playing music for the rest of my life. I just didn't see myself playing in a band for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I'll play music because I love music. But, not picturing what we do now with music,
Right.
never really pictured
Right,
that.
And
I mean,
honestly,
you had
oh,
dreams
sorry.
like, when you listen to music by big name people, you're like, oh, that would be so cool to be on stage and be like, people enjoy what you had to present. But it wasn't like, oh, that's what I'm going to do.
And honestly, the entire reason our family's band started was to help out our band director.
Exactly.
Right.
It wasn't like,
Hey,
we're gonna have a
let's-
family
right.
band.
Let's start.
Let's
We're
get
gonna
let's
have
do
a
it.
family band and
No,
a big
we were the
white
only
van,
ones-
and we're gonna be traveling.
A
Right.
big what?
White
Big
band.
white
Oh, I
Man.
thought you said big black. I'm like, ours is white, by the
What?
way.
No,
I
but
didn't
we
know
were
if you
we
knew
were just
that.
helping our band director out. It wasn't about
Yeah.
doing this. This wasn't in our plans. He needed us. We were the only ones available, and
Yeah.
one of our family's mottos, like
Motto? What's a
principles.
motto with
I
you?
don't know what the motto is.
Maybe quote
One of
day.
our family's principles is to what? How am I trying
I
to
don't
say?
have
Jacob's
the
like,
gift
no,
of
no, no.
I
reading
can't come up
minds.
with the right
The heart of service and being
Yeah.
helpful.
Right,
And
right.
if someone needs us and we
if you have the power
ability
to do something.
yes, if we have the ability to
No,
do
no,
it,
no. What is
we'd
it?
love to
It's-
help out.
What is the
It's
what is-
wrong to do nothing
when you have the
You have
power
the
to
power
do
to do
something.
something.
Words of the Realm quote. That's a book quote for you guys.
I'll put quote.
Definitely check out Chuck Black. He and Naomi are my favorite authors.
Aw.
Yeah.
Hands
So
down.
anyway, this was never in the plan. It was just us trying to help our
Yeah,
Our band
and
director
I
out.
can honestly say our musical journey was really step by step.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was
and it's
like
not
can I-
cliche.
Yeah.
It's not like
Our grandfather played the banjo with Bill Monroe.
and
No.
that and there's what okay that came out like anyway it sounds anyway I'm not sure how that sounded. That's no offense to Bill Monroe.
There's no generational.
It
Right.
wasn't.
Right.
This
First
was
generation.
first generation.
Exactly.
But it wasn't like we want to be. Yeah, we had goals, but it wasn't like we saw us being somewhere else in a year from now. We were just like, do what we're doing now. Let's keep going, and then doors would open, and you look a year back, and you're like, wow, didn't see this coming, and then the
Right.
next year, same thing, didn't see that coming, and just like it's a continual progression, and you have ideas of what the year's going to look like, and it doesn't turn out that way. I have to say that was what 2020 did for me, especially was like,
every
Right.
year.
oh, just a continuation of 2019. We're going to hopefully connect with more people, keep traveling, keep building that audience through traveling, not
Right.
through online stuff. And then it's like 2020 happened, and we're like, didn't see this coming
Right.
at
No.
all. But it's been really cool to just have that mindset as you're going through this musical journey of like, I think it's good to have goals and dreams. Sorry, I am wrapping it up. I know
No,
Joshua
no,
wants to
no,
say
no,
something.
no, no,
it's okay.
Anyway,
I like
but
listening
I
to
think
Abby's nice, sweet voice.
I think it's good to have goals and dreams, but don't let those stop you or stunt what God wants to do through you, because
Right.
sometimes he has a totally different dream and goal for you, and it's so much bigger and better than you can imagine. But sometimes it may not be, but that's what he wants you to do. I don't, just
Right. Yeah.
there's peace though in living out what God has designed you to live out and destined you to live out. Anyway,
She's like, I
Right.
don't know if that makes sense, but you get what I'm saying.
Well,
that's what I'm
really
trying to
quick.
say.
to
Expound on
Expound.
what
Please
you're
expound.
what you're talking about. Sometimes bigger
It's not
doesn't
always
have
better.
to, well, true,
Sometimes.
but
Anyway.
sometimes bigger is not from in when God says he, how did you say it? Like, we've talked about that.
I got it. Bigger is not always for the better.
That's not where I'm going.
Okay.
I was just trying
Remind
to.
me.
Well, what I'm going for is that bigger doesn't always mean bigger from our perspective.
Exactly.
It's bigger
Oh,
from
I
God's
gotcha.
perspective.
That's a good
So
point.
It doesn't matter how many people,
Yeah.
because there's a video that we once watched about, these different these three different people stood before God, and one of them was an accountant, the other was
A pastor.
pastor, and the next one was a stay-at-home mom. And with the accountant, he presented, he did all this great stuff in the business world and all that, and God was like, well, why didn't you I called you to be a pastor.
Yeah.
I didn't call you to be an accountant. And because you didn't do that, however many souls were affected, because it's a trickle down effect.
Right.
But then the opposite was for the pastor. The Lord wanted him to be an accountant.
Exactly.
To help provide for ministries
and
and
It
all
goes
that.
back to Romans 12.
Right.
Which we are memorizing as a family right now.
Right.
And remember that all of us have different gifts, and sometimes what we're doing is good, but that's not what we were called to do, and we could do even better in what the Lord has us to do. You can finish.
And that's
I interrupted.
But then
One more.
the stay-at-home mom comes along, and she's like, I was just a stay-at-home mom. I took care of 3 kids, took care of the house, took care of all this kind of stuff. But the Lord was like, but that's what I called you to do. And because you've obeyed your calling, you fulfilled your calling, you affected however many souls and whatnot. And it was like, that perspective of, just because it's, maybe in your perspective, your influence is small.
Yeah.
Later on, it may become
Your
a big
influences affects this person, and their influence affects these people, and these people, their influence affects more. Again, it's Tim Tebow's mom has a book, Ripple Effect.
Right.
We're called to stir the waters. We're called
There you
to
go, right.
just. Again, I think the main difference, and then I know Jacob wants to say something, but the main difference, you look at the accountant, and he pursued his desires and his goals and his dreams and left God out of it.
Right.
And then you look at the pastor, and he was pursuing what he thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to be a pastor to these people.
Right.
It looks good on the outside.
Right.
But we tend to elevate people in ministry platforms when we're all called to be ministers of God, and we're all called to love on people and to serve the Lord in whatever position, career that God has placed us. And then you look again at the mom, and she pursued what she knew God had called her to. And so I'm not saying you're always going to get it right, or you have to make sure that you're hearing from God. I'm not saying not to, but we don't have to overthink it.
Right.
But really, consider where you're at. Consider, is this where God wants me to be? Or is he nudging me to do something that I've just put off and said, no, I can't do that. I'm not good enough to do that. It doesn't seem big enough. It doesn't seem ministry on the outside, where God's like, no, I want you to minister there. It might just look different than what you have in mind anyway.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
just
great.
think that's beautiful to just consider. We have such a small, like what 1 Corinthians 13 talks about. We see through a mirror. We don't see what God sees.
Right.
But one day we'll be able to see clearly.
Yes. And those are a lot of the questions that we asked ourselves when we felt this was getting to be bigger than a hobby.
Yeah.
We felt the transition coming, that this may be our lifestyle. This may be our calling. This may be what God wants us to do
Right.
primarily.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, He's opened a lot of different doors for us with, missions and other stuff that we'll talk about in other podcasts,
Yeah.
of course. But that feeling of, wow, this is getting serious. This is
Yeah.
getting
Right.
big. Is this? Are we sure about this? That last little, I hate to say last little hesitation before jumping off the diving board, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That last little consideration, those questions you mentioned. I know that was going through Dad's mind as we were, moving and grooving and stuff was starting to fall
Yeah.
into place.
And again, it was a gradual thing, a gradual transition into like, we're not going to quit on this. We see God opening the doors, and we see God moving in hearts, and we see God working in our hearts, and we want to keep going with this. And so over like we've been playing music, 2 live audiences with just us and sometimes Mom, for about 10 years now,
Mm-hmm.
pushing 11.
It's close to 11, 10 and a half now.
But again, it was not like, oh, we're going to kick off with a professional career. No, it was little by little, step by step, year by
Exactly.
year. It
Yes.
grew into what we're doing now. And yeah, the transition into like, this is our life.
Right. It
And-
took about, of course, Dad retired in 2013.
2013.
Right.
But that really was to.
That
you
was
know,
the start of the
well,
transition.
I know, but
think.
it for
He
me.
retired to come home
he
and like
retired
farm
to
the
come
land.
home
Right,
and
I know.
be a farmer.
That's
and
not
raise
what God
goats,
had in mind.
Chickens.
That's not
and,
what Dad had
you
in
know,
mind. That's what God had in mind.
Well, I meant that's not what God had in mind for us to work.
Oh,
the land.
I'm following.
Dude, with
I got
We're
you.
saying
plan.
the same
I
thing,
got
just
you.
2 different ways.
Just 2 different ways.
Right.
Gotcha.
But I think it would be like around 2017, 2018, where it was like, this is what,
Yeah, I'd say it took us about 4 or 5 years to completely transition into
Right.
a band, a
Right.
professional band that this is who we are.
Exactly. And again, still, even the next big step for me personally that really launched me into like, not a full on career mindset, but like still ministry mindset, but also more of like, yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing into my adult life was of 2018 when we moved to
Right.
Knoxville.
Yes.
And of course, turning 18 at that time, that next step, graduating, your school's behind you. And so it's like, wow, okay, so I really want to take this
Right.
on.
What's
and
next?
then, 2019, working with Ben Isaacs, the next step, the eye opener of like, wow, so families can do this for years and years and years, right?
Right.
I mean, we grew up on the Isaacs, but working with Ben, it's a whole different, thing than just watching him up on stage, really getting, building a friendship with him, building him becoming more and more of a mentor. And
And he
that-
was a big part
yeah.
of the transitioning into
Oh yeah.
what we do and lifestyle and all of that. What we've
again,
been
I
talking
can't
about.
really say there was like one moment where
Like
we
it
were
was-
like,
yes,
wow,
like
we're
an
going to
angel
pursue this for the
appeared
rest
and
of
we're
our
like-
lives.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have
exactly.
like I think they call it a Damascus Road.
Yeah, no, it
experience.
was
There was never
year
that.
by year, and the next door opened, and
But-
the
and
next revelation of like,
that's-
wow, this is really working. Not like we're working, but like people's hearts are being touched by what we do. Anyway, what
Yeah.
were you saying?
I was just saying that, sometimes that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to take. You may not have a Saw moment where you just see the light, so
Yeah.
to speak. It may take a long time.
Right.
And, we got to be, but, Paul did some waiting as well with the 14 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you're in that waiting period, if you don't know what your calling is yet, I'm learning to, spend time in prayer. We really neglect prayer, and that's a big part of
Yeah, and I think spending time in prayer, but if you don't feel a nudge, maybe you are where God wants you to be.
Yeah.
And
that's
it
a great way
feels
to put it.
like, well, maybe I should be doing more and I could be doing more, but God's like, no, you're where I want you to be. Because I truly believe if we weren't where God wanted us to be, he would speak to our hearts. You know, there'll always be doubts in our lives, but you have to, again, being in prayer, you will recognize the doubts from actual direction.
Right.
And I just want to encourage those who are in a place and we're like, well, I'm not hearing any like go this way, go that way. Well, maybe he doesn't want you to go anywhere. He wants you to work and plant your roots down where you are right now.
Right.
And it may not seem big to you, but again, the whole picture, we're just called to be a light, to love God and love others. That's our command, you know, other than, correct me if I'm wrong, but my perspective is the first command, of course, for Christ coming is to believe in Christ, to call on the name of the Lord, to be saved. And once we're in that relationship, all he asks of us is to love God and love others. And when we have that mindset, the whole law is fulfilled in that.
Right.
And he works in that. And we got to trust him to do the work and stop thinking, well, I have to do this and I have to do this. And if I don't do it, it's not a rule book. It's
Right.
simple. And as we draw closer into this relationship of Christ, we become more attuned to what he's telling us. Go here, do this, speak to this person. And I think it's so simple. We make it complicated, and it's dangerous. The complicating things is dangerous, and elevating other people is so dangerous. I mean, I never want to be elevated, but I have elevated other people.
Right.
And been like, wow, they're doing so much. And I'm like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? That's not where God wants us to be.
And that was part of the process of transition, was owning the ministry aspect of our work, what we did.
Our work.
That's what because we would, I mean, we're a family. We're a Christian family, and we love each other. We get along with each other. Our parents are intact.
I would say 90% of the time.
Well, no family, nobody's perfect, lady. Yeah.
Second podcast in a row, we had to quote that.
But our parents are together.
Yeah.
We have an intact family. It's not perfect, but we work through things.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is
a
testimony, but also a conversation starter.
Oh,
because
for sure.
you just don't
Big family,
see that
music
these
all
days.
together. You actually look happy together. Wow, what is this?
Right.
And you're like,
and so that ministry of, explaining why, because that's the biggest question we get is, well, how to? So like, how is it possible that a large family like yourselves is all involved, all in, from dad down to the youngest member, into this thing? And why are you doing that? Why isn't, everybody got their own little thing that they want to do?
why are y'all committed to the
Why
same
are all of you committed to
goal?
the same thing?
Same work, same goals, same ministry. And
so
it's truly, I have never, I've had doubts, but never was like certain and to do anything else. So this is the only thing I've been fully, not the only thing, but this is one of the things that you're like, you're certain and that this is what you are meant to do. And just having that peace that you're like, okay, it's going to change. It's going to look different. There are going to be hard days. And the good days, over the moon days, but to
Right.
stick through both days and just be committed to the ministry, to the purpose. And I think really owning the ministry really took to the next level 2020, because you were forced to go online if you wanted to continue any ministry aspect. You were it was no longer let's go out and minister.
Right.
It was like, okay, what can we do at home and from home? Why are y'all smiling?
No, because I hit the table.
Oh.
and then I think
John
there's
Mark's shifting.
Sorry, everyone has this weird smile on their
No,
like, what's
John Mark's
going
shifting,
on?
but I think Joshua has something he wanted to.
Joshua.
No.
you
Oh,
are-
okay.
I am processing, enjoying this.
Well,
Joshua's
I just
fine.
know, I just know for me, owning it took on a whole new level 2020.
Absolutely.
Because it was now my heart speaking and my heart sharing, and we started Worship Wednesday. We did Worship Wednesday from March to this past March. And then, of course, we were led to move on to podcast form and minister here. But that step, just again, out of the blue, you're like, well, hey, let's do this. And just that,
Yeah.
Heart
The continuation of
minister.
our goal, our end goal in mind is to affect people's lives for Christ.
Yeah.
However we accomplish that has changed in my memory in the last 10 years. That goal has the way we accomplish that goal has changed at least a dozen times.
Right.
But
The how has
the
changed.
how has changed, but the why has never
Never
changed.
changed.
Exactly.
I can speak clearly. We have been
sometimes.
single-minded, or at least committed in our mind to this goal
Yes.
of affecting people's lives.
Yes. And honestly, whenever, there was that desire to be like, oh, hey, let's pursue a career in this, because everyone else is in more of the career pursuit, making a name for themselves. And it's hard not to get caught up in that, even for just a moment of being like, are we, doing the right stuff, calling the right people, and
A little bit of recognition is nice.
yes, it does feel
you
good.
You can't deny that.
Right.
But
At the end of the day, it's like, wait a minute, we're not doing this for other people to recognize what we're doing. Because honestly, it's exhausting to go for results, to go for recognition.
Right.
for sure.
And I'm just thankful that God hasn't given us that He's let us experience the rejection,
Yeah.
the failure, the falls where
Right.
you have to get back, because that's how you get stronger.
Right.
And
It's like who said it? Did Cap? No, Cap didn't say it. Dr. Erskine said it. The weak man knows the value of strength.
Exactly.
So for you to properly understand, now I'm not saying, if God does decide later on this year, next year, 5 years from now, whatever, to give us that recognition, or if He doesn't, it's up to Him. But we know the value of it because of the things we've gone through.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And He has given us some.
He has.
It's just, I think the beauty of the Christian life is there are sweet moments, but there's also some bitter. Christ is described as a man of sorrows, well acquainted with grief. But one teacher pointed out about the little children coming to Jesus. They wouldn't come to some guy who's downcast and like solemn and
Yeah.
all stoic and stuff like that. They would come to someone who was smiling and reaching out to them. And so it was like Jesus had this bittersweet cup that He drank. And we're called to drink that cup as well.
Right.
And I think, again, going back to the purpose of like, and we mentioned last week, this week, actually, last week, goodness, Abby, get it right. Last week about, and my mind went blank. I was rebuking myself and my mind went blank.
That's funny.
I started
had
to
a
think.
point.
I did. I've
I've been
about
enjoying
Mother's
Abby
Day.
shine from her heart.
Was it something
Happy
about
Cinco de Mayo, y'all. We
Happy
recorded this
Cinco de
on-
Mayo.
We recorded this on Cinco de Mayo.
Anyway, I
Very
forgot. Maybe it
fun.
didn't need to be said.
Oh, that's the way to.
And sometimes
Ooh.
that's what happens, you know.
But I think
Yeah.
to take
personal
the
experience.
bitter with the sweet
Mm.
Ooh.
and to
Hey,
That reminds me of a
that's
song.
on one of our
I
new
know.
songs
I know
coming up on our new album. It's actually the
that I
title track.
actually helped
Story
write.
Story
Yeah.
to tell.
Abby's like, shameless plug, y'all.
Shameless
I wrote
plug.
the title track. Finally got it. together.
Very funny.
So, you know, I think we keep talking about how much we learned throughout 2020.
Yeah.
You know, but that really, you know, solidified what we wanted to do. It was
Right.
already, you know, we were sure about it, but that was really a make or break. We've had make or break moments throughout the
Yeah.
past 10 years.
Come to
but,
Jesus meetings.
right, exactly.
We're like, do we?
But the 2020, that
remember
was,
the goal.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But that was the biggest make or break moment.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2020 definitely was, because all of a sudden, I mean, we love live streaming, we love our online stuff, but you
we
don't.
miss playing
you're
in
not.
front of people.
Well, the hardcore stuff is you're not able to pay the bills on live stream.
No.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, just the reality of like, okay, are we going to stick through this and see what happens, see where God takes us, see how we can adapt, and what income we can supplement that we
Right.
lost. I mean, we
Well, and
lost
honestly,
98%
Yeah.
of our shows. And so that was one big make or break question, was like, Jacob and Joshua are in their early 20s,
mid-20s.
Jacob's approaching mid-20s. And so it's like,
He's an old man.
yeah, they need to
Shut
be able to pay the bills.
Right.
And,
Well, and honestly, that's a blessing, and a blessing from 2020.
Tomer just reached over and went.
No,
Abby
I
freaked
was
out.
fixing my
Oh, that's
foot.
funny.
oh,
Honestly, in
I
2020,
was pulling
that's
my
a
sock
blessing,
back
though,
up over my ankle.
Anyway, sorry about
And
that.
is-
That was random. Go
is
ahead.
Dad's retirement. Dad was blessed with a well-paying job
Right,
for
yeah.
35, almost
35
35 years.
Hardworking man. We
And
talk
oil and
about.
gas.
I mean,
But
we
his
talk about behind the
retirement-
scenes, but he was a hardworking man.
But his retirement savings, he was also very smart with his money. His
Right.
he
retirement
was
savings
smart man.
are paying for, the house and
Right.
and our house expenses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not, thankfully, praise be to God, that we're not in the same position that a lot of other bands
Right.
found themselves
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
where, the band was their primary source of income.
Right. Well, for us,
I mean, for us,
It is.
people-
our
but-
dad is very generous
yes.
and very understanding, and just
We have amazing
they
parents.
we do have
Absolutely.
amazing parents. They want us to be able to get on our feet with this ministry / career, but they're willing to supplement until it happens, where we are able to do that.
money. No, just kidding.
Well, where y'all are
hilarious.
able to
Wow.
be
Right.
fully independently.
Yes.
Right.
Um,
And there's
And
been a
we
lot
are-
of prayer and
Again, a
stuff
lot of
about
prayer in that.
Come to
whether
Jesus
Joshua and I
meetings, like
should
Abby
get
mentioned.
a quote unquote normal
Side job, yeah.
side job.
normal. What does anybody in this family know about normal?
Wow.
movie quote.
But
Incredible
anyway,
quote there.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's we're still praying. We're still
Mhm.
trying to discern. What do we do? I
Yeah.
mean, this is our goal. Our goal has always been this.
Why are we
Our why. Our why.
Our why.
Back
has
to why
always
music.
been
Our
doing
why
this.
has always been ministering through music.
Yes, but how? How do we do
But
that?
how do we go about it?
You sounded like the Grinch. But how?
There you go.
I was like the Grinch. Wow,
Well,
I
I
was
guess
pretty
for-
happy when I said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I'm
Well,
kidding.
for me personally, my how
Yes.
has been not just playing with my awesome, amazing family.
Don't overdo it.
But wow. But
We love you too,
also
Josh.
with teaching. You
Yes.
know,
Joshua
I'm-
has a teacher's heart.
yes,
Absolutely.
And I've had the opportunity to start that over the past almost 2 years. It's I have 4 amazing students that I enjoy working with, and I hope to grow that number.
If you need a guitar teacher,
Guitar
or
mando.
or
Vocal,
and bass, vocal,
bass.
harpsichord.
no,
No, not that. No harpsichord.
Joshua's like, don't stretch it. Don't make promises you can't keep.
yes,
is
because
that? Is
honestly,
that a
I've
movie
never
quote?
It's
played.
Agent Carter. You'll get to it.
Oh,
The only harpsichord I've ever played is when it's an electric piano where you can change
Right,
it,
where
and
you
that's
change
about
the
it.
voice.
Yeah, exactly. You do play piano though. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's shameless plug for Joshua's teaching. Anyway,
you.
so
Hit us up with a
We-
favorite memory.
yes, that's
Yes,
what I
let's
was
do
going to
some
lead
favorite
into the
memories.
next subject.
Yes.
I haven't gotten to do that. I'm kidding.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. I enjoyed listening to y'all.
Aw.
It's good. It's nice to listen. I bet other
We are
people
doing a
enjoy
Isn't
devotion
it?
about that right now.
Wow.
Listening to people.
She seriously just grabbed my cheek.
I didn't grab your cheek.
You were
I
close.
poked
You
it.
poked it.
Wow.
What is that? Okay, y'all. So, a little fun thing we're going to do is favorite musical memory over the past 10 years. That's in the words of Abby Sowell, musical memory. Quite
Musical
beautiful.
memories.
So, musical memory. There is so many, especially 10 years. 10 years worth of memories.
long
Joshua, how about
time.
you start us off, pal?
Well,
Josh has the spotlight.
I do
Wait for
have
it.
a couple.
Aliens.
Wow.
Okay.
Um,
You have a couple.
yes.
Start with one because you might mention one I want to mention.
Yeah, exactly. You only get
Only
uno,
get
bro.
one.
Wow.
Uno, bro.
Uno,
I would
bro.
say we've played for so many different audiences over the years and wide range of ages, but I would have to
backgrounds.
say and backgrounds, that's true.
I just wanted to. Hi.
But my probably way
Jamar keeps setting the table, people.
And Jacob's gonna have to edit that.
I'm just gonna leave it.
wow.
Bang, bang, bangity, bang.
Okay.
I would say my
And we're
one of my favorite
ahead, Josh,
musical
sorry.
memories is playing for the kids when we did music camps.
Aw, I
Yeah.
love that
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Those were those were the best
They were
audiences.
the
I
best.
mean, it's one of the and I don't want this to come out wrong, but
Yeah.
when you see those big concerts with all these young people and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just all scared, it kind of
Okay.
had that feel at
Yeah.
the camps because they
were
were just
singing along with you, and
Right,
you're
yeah.
just
We didn't
like,
have strobe
Yelling their
lights
heads
and,
off.
right,
but
It's
40 kids
sweet
can make
memories.
the sound of 200 adults.
yeah.
Exactly. And it was awesome. But I like that, Josh.
Yeah.
There's, of course, a lot of camp memories, which we are going to talk about soon. Stay tuned
Actually,
for future
next
That's actually
week.
the next
episodes.
episode.
next
Next
episode.
All right, next episode.
So-
I was thinking 7 and
two-part
8.
series.
A two-part,
A 2-part
55
series.
part series on how to be a Tigger in an Eeyore world.
There you go.
So,
That's new.
yeah, me and Justice are writing that book.
Stay tuned.
Like discontent or content or discontent. Which tent do you live in?
What?
Come on, that's creative.
I've heard the joke
favorite
before.
musical memory.
Are you talking to me?
I
Oh,
was,
you.
No, well, I
Well, I
was.
just want to say
No,
one
just
quick
kidding,
thing
I'm kidding.
about Joshua. We've always had a heart to reach our generation as
Right.
well. And that was something music camps really did fulfilled for us in our goal and dream. You know, again, the why never changed. It's just like, you know, we would really love to reach our generation.
Right.
And yeah. And that's still our heart, is to present good, wholesome, quality music and minister to our generation's hearts. And so, you know, we
Amen.
keep praying that doors will open, and we'll see where that leads. But anyway, just wanted to say that.
Musical
right
memory.
there. Now your turn.
I loved, playing at Silver Dollar City.
Yes.
Not only like winning the contest, but just playing there at Silver Dollar
Yeah.
City.
That's called
know,
full circle.
Exactly, because we just
What?
watched
You
people.
stole my memory. That was my memory, and you heard me say
She
it.
Are you whining?
You stole my memory.
We can share a memory.
No.
Wow, we are so being real right
Wow.
This is very 3D.
I mentioned
This
that
is
right
4D.
before we started recording
5D.
it, that I had figured out my memory. I was going to say Silver
now. And
Dollar
she was
City.
so excited.
And John Mark decided to use that for himself.
Stop stealing my glory.
That hurts. Wow.
Okay, you can finish. I'll find something else to
Yeah.
use.
I thought you
'Cause
said
we
you had
have plenty-
multiple
I said I had multiple ideas.
ideas.
But
Well,
we
hopefully
only had
you have
one.
another idea. Lady.
Abby, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Say your memory.
playing at Silver Dollar City.
Abigail's like crushed right now, and I feel horrible.
Hey.
Well, I honestly have to say, I think I have more memories of
Ye-
of Silver Dollar City than you do.
Okay,
That's probably
fine.
true.
Then you can have that. My other favorite
No, I'm
memory.
kidding. Go ahead. I'm really okay with it.
No, don't worry, Abigail. You already crushed my soul.
Hey, go ahead.
Like a great.
I loved, well, not only playing for the kids, but teaching the kids. That was my first. It was, being 12 years old and teaching a group of teens. You're like, thankfully, I had an amazing translator that knew how to
Line 'em up,
snap
put
to
'em up
snap
in
them
the
to
shape.
attention.
Yeah.
But I loved, that teaching element. I really a big part of Serbia that I miss is just connecting through those with those people, because those kids, because it's such like we always mention, music is such a universal language,
Yeah.
and you just really connect with that. It doesn't matter where they're from. We talked about backgrounds. All people can connect through music. So teaching at the music camps was amazing. And of course, so many meeting our fam, the musical memories we've made with our online streaming now and our fam. I just love the community that we've built. If you're listening, fam, we love you. You guys are all amazing. So that's 3. Abby, you can.
Okay, I have to apologize for being so hard on you.
It's okay.
I just want to say I'm sorry.
People are listening going, wow. It's okay. It's hump day. You're having an extra hump day. You have a
hump day.
hump moment.
Wow.
Hey, no, I'm sorry. I apologize.
We'll share
Duh.
this memory.
Share it. Yes.
Just
Meaning
we're about
like
family, right,
you
Abby?
share it. Yes.
Yes.
And sharing is caring. Okay.
No, it's not.
Joshua.
That was so matter of fact.
If you
no.
care about yourself, you won't share.
What? Who? When in the Bible? Show
that
me in
is
the
the
Bible
most-
when
Okay,
it
come on.
says
You've
to
had
care
those
about
thoughts, people.
yourself.
Come on.
Y'all, that was the most selfish thing I've heard today. This week.
Wow.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Moving on.
Care about yourself. Blah, 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 blah.
What about caring about others?
We're supposed to care about others. Joshua.
What happened to the plan we're doing?
Oh.
Okay, Abby.
Anyway, so Jean-Marc and my favorite memory is playing at Silver Dollar City, like he said. And again, we grew up going there. I was 6 when we did our first
I
trip.
was 5 years old. I
You
was
were-
actually 2.
2. Not even.
1. You were 1.5. 18 months.
Cool. Abby? It was rounded up, people.
Anyway, that was our first. We went 3 times when I was 7. We went twice when I was 9. I mean, like once when I was 9. Okay, twice when I was 11.
There you go.
That's
Abby's
right.
like, wait, let me go back.
She saw my look. And
Anyway, Joshua knows this stuff. Anyway, but we always knew who D.A. Calloway was because
Oh,
you
yeah.
know you saw him.
In fact, we
walking
have a
around.
picture with him.
When we were
Was this
little?
07?
09.
Seriously?
09.
Oh,
Yeah.
this
Maybe
picture.
We
07,
were all,
I don't know, but
I want to say
definitely 09.
that I might have been above his shoulder, but
I
the
know I
rest of y'all
wasn't.
were not.
I was not.
Obviously.
I
And,
have a hat
I mean, he's
signed
like
by
head and
him
shoulders
in
above.
09.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so we always looked up to D.A. Calloway. Anyway, and fast forward to 2016, our first time at Spigma, we had a showcase. It's like a mini set. You just
A mini
like
set.
30 minutes and
Yep.
you play your
Sometimes
best
just
stuff.
20. You
Give us
just-
your best stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, and so he
Make
walks
the people
into
want to
the room while
hire
we're
you.
playing, and we're like,
Yeah, when he walks in,
D.A. Calloway. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Anyway,
was
and I was
Abby
sick
singing.
at the time. So,
Oh, I
yeah,
remember
that was
that.
great.
That was
yeah.
Um,
Best shows are when you're sick.
when
No.
Seriously.
No.
And you don't realize how
No,
horrible
they're
you sound.
not.
I was re-listening to a stream we did, and when I was sick, I was like, my throat,
Actually, I
was
sound-
like, holy cow.
I don't sound as bad as I thought I did when I
Right.
listened back
Well,
to
yeah,
myself
that's-
because my ears are usually everything's connected. Your whole,
Everything's clogged
I was
up.
like,
and it changes the way.
of the day. Not respiratory. That's
Well, it changes the way you
sinus,
hear.
my sinuses. Anyway, the worst is when you have a runny nose. I think.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, "Where's the tissue box?"
or runny
It's running
and stuffy
right now.
combo.
So
Like it's stuffy, and then
And
it
then all of a
decides
sudden
to
run
run
down. You're like,
All right. Anyway, this
Anyway,
is way
one
off.
thing I'm grateful about keto is I have not had one of those experiences. I used to like lose my voice like once a year because
yeah.
I was so stopped up, and it's just like I don't feel like singing right now.
No
Anyway,
whining at me.
anywho, he walks in.
Who's anywho?
wow.
Who?
He walks in. He hears us play. Enjoys what we have to give. He was a judge at the first Spigma contest,
And
we
he was
participated
one
in.
of the more benevolent.
benevolent
judges.
judges.
Right.
Wow.
He's
Anyway.
judged us every single time.
Yes, he has. Then come spring of 2016, we compete first time in the Youth and Bluegrass
Right.
at Silver Dollar City. And he books us the next year for 2017.
Yes.
And
So
even though we
you're
did
there.
not
Right, what he
place
heard.
in the top
Yeah.
5 or top 7 for that matter, he enjoyed our music. He wanted to get us back. And that is probably one of my favorite memories, us being able to play at a venue where you grew up just running around going crazy. Always looked forward to Silver Dollar
That
City.
wasn't
Yeah.
me. That was you, Abby.
And guess what?
That
We're-
wasn't you. Anyway, and so we played there 2017, twice in 2018, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, just once
It
in
was twice
2018.
in
Twice
2019.
in 2019. And
Right,
we
'cause we play
were
summertime.
going to play there in 2020. That was probably
However,
the venue I was most sad about
Right.
missing
Yeah.
Yeah.
was Silver Dollar City because I looked forward to it every year. But
We're going back.
we're going back
we're going back.
2021.
You guys
Yes.
see us there
2 weeks. We're
at
excited.
Dockside.
Yes.
Dockside
First time
Theater.
there.
Oh yeah. And
be
just again, probably my favorite musical memory. Apparently Jim Marks too, and we share.
We share.
Because we
Abby's
care.
a nice person, nice human.
Anyway. There's
Did
a
you have
lot of
another one?
other
Yeah, I
sweet
mean, there's-
memories.
let's see what
I would
Jacob's
agree
is.
that playing overseas is
Yeah. Well, and
huge
that's one
highlights
I was going to
for
mention.
me.
One of those.
Wow,
for me is
that was like a
probably-
hurry up tap.
What?
That's rude, Abby.
Hey. Well, I was going to say one of
How woo? How woo?
you talking about
I
playing
can do it.
overseas. One of
Oh.
my favorite memories
was that?
of
Exasperated.
no, funny. One of my favorite memories being on stage overseas. Well, and really just like a favorite moment of my career
Oh, wow.
Um,
That
Wow.
sounds so proper.
I know, right?
Sounds like-
But is the Baptist Church in Sheed, which is in
we all did.
northeastern Serbia,
Yeah.
actually about
We
10,
don't
15 miles
need
from the
a
Croatian border.
geography lesson.
Just
Tell us the
explain.
memory.
Anyway,
something
it was
I
the
couldn't
first
think of
time
it.
we played there, I think.
Yes.
I think this might have been
Oh, yes.
2016.
Yes,
The
it was.
Chosen.
Yes.
But
Okay, sorry.
yes. I think it's 2016.
Actually,
I
no,
was
it was-
thinking
might have been
Matthew
2017.
in The Chosen, where he's like details.
Does
and
it
he's
have to
like-
be this precise? It's like, mine shall be precise.
Anyway, sorry. Watch
but
The Chosen.
anyway, it was the first time we
Yes.
played there, whenever it
Right,
was.
yeah, yeah.
And one of the songs we used to do at the time was "Take Me Home, Country Roads,"
Yes.
and I sang it. So
And I sang it.
well,
I'm kidding. Go
No,
ahead.
John Mark sang it when he was 10.
Wow.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Wow.
What? I couldn't read that. What did that
Can you
mean?
go over that again? I'm trying to decipher the language here. Anyway.
right. Well, your
Go.
voice was about an octave higher than it is now. So
You know what? It was 2016.
Why are we going?
I
over
don't
this?
know. Why are we
What
doing
year
this?
was it?
anyway,
I don't remember.
so
I
that
think
was
it
part of the set.
2017.
Was
It was 2016 because it was the first time I wore that
Sick Paisley shirt.
that I grew out of, which sucks.
Oh my word! That's how
Anyway.
John Mark
It's
remembers
like Howard
things.
Stark.
I remember the clothes I wore. That's
well, Abby
amazing.
remembers what her hair was at
Yes.
the time.
yeah.
I can't decipher what my hair was at the
Anyway.
time right now.
It was
Decipher.
brown.
Why am I using
It was
decipher all of a
darker,
sudden?
and it was like midway down your back, over your
She's
shoulders.
looking at you like,
I'm
what?
trying to grow out
It's
my
like-
hair, people.
I think it
Anyway,
looks amazing.
Thank you. I decided to say that to y'all. Anyway.
so
Yeah, because
we
you could
were
totally see her.
we started playing "Take Me Home, Country Roads,"
yes,
and
we did.
as I was singing it, the entire, and I do mean entire, the
Everybody.
entire congregation started singing with
I
me.
crazy.
We were like,
In
oh, y'all are
Serbian.
Don
I mean,
Denver
the
fans.
The whole church, and you got to understand, this was an old wooden church, one of the
Yes.
old classic churches that they had, and so the acoustics in there were like amazing.
Right.
And so when the whole crowd,
Never heard Jacob. Amazing. I'm rubbing
I
off
do
on
that.
Jacob.
no,
kidding.
anyway.
I think I've heard him do that before.
Anyway, so we start. I mean, as we're playing, it sounds great, but then when you get the whole crowd and everybody
I
singing
love how he
together,
was
it's
like,
like.
well, we were playing. It sounds great, and then
Oh, that is a sweet.
But
memory.
that was. I,
remember
mean,
that.
I
Oh,
still
man,
get chills
amazing.
thinking about it,
Right.
Because it was so awesome.
Hey, can we mention one more?
Sure, Josh.
Was this your
Singing-
second one?
Yes.
Just
I
say
believe
it.
it was.
Okay,
Just say
awesome.
about
Say it.
Was the Isaac's allowing us to sing.
Oh,
my
yeah,
word.
in Israel.
Why didn't I remember that?
Twice.
Well, they allowed
That
us
was
to
awesome.
sing on their Israel trip.
Yes.
Tour.
Tour.
Yeah.
Tour.
Okay,
That's-
anyway,
that's
we
what
went
tour.
with them 2018, and not as like we went with them to tour with them. We were a part of the audience anyway.
Yeah, we were.
But they
we were
knew we
there as
sang,
the.
yeah.
We were there as our family,
Yes.
not as the band.
Not as a band, but oh my word, Israel
cool.
is probably the highlight of my life.
Yes.
oh, absolutely.
Definitely,
It was cool.
Anyway,
Well, I was
but
about to
they
say
knew we
something, but-
sang, especially Miss Sonia. We had connected.
Yes, I remember
Mom and
that.
her
I
had
was there
connected
when
over
Miss Sonia came
Facebook.
up to.
She actually told us. I think she had texted Mom that before we left,
Yeah.
that they were going to want us to sing
Yes.
at
Yes,
one place.
at one
So we
place.
knew about one, and
Yeah.
we were already officially freaked out. But then
Oh,
she
that
came
is
up.
the
Was it at the
scaredest
Jordan?
I have ever been.
The
Was it
The
scaredest.
scared
No, seriously, my insides were shaking.
Your inside.
Was it at the Jordan?
I've never had
River?
butterfly experience really until that moment, and I was like,
I've had
Yeah.
caterpillar experiences.
caterpillar.
That's weird.
What is that?
Anyway, was it at the Jordan
stomach is
that she
crawling.
came up to
Yeah.
us and said, "Hey, y'all want to sing again?" And we were like,
We
"Sure."
can, thank you. Anyway,
Oh,
and
my
just
goodness.
So,
like
it was a
that
lot of fun.
experience.
Anyway.
Singing in Israel, being in Israel, guys. If you ever get the chance, shh.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If you ever get the chance to go to Israel, do it.
Yes.
You won't
Amen.
regret it.
Absolutely.
It's so surreal. Again, how we like to put it is making words on a page come to life. It's a 3D experience
yeah.
of like, oh, this is Nazareth. This is,
This is
This
Jerusalem.
is the
This is the Sea
country.
of Galilee.
the
Yeah.
terrain he walked in and lived in, and just like,
Yeah.
it was
It's
amazing.
crazy.
It's cool.
It's awesome.
Amen.
If I
So-
could relive those 2 weeks, I would. 10 days.
I know.
Right.
For sure.
10 days.
So we've been kind of talking about knowing your why.
Your why.
All
That
throughout
has
Getting back
been-
to that.
Exactly.
Definitely, because again, our why is our why is to glorify God. So, as Christians, that must be our why, is to
Exactly.
glorify God, to love God, and to love others.
In whatever we're
That's
doing.
our commitment as Christians. But the how looks different,
Yes.
and that's good.
We all can't.
God
We all
never-
can't be pastors. We all can't be musicians.
No, and God doesn't
And-
want that.
Exactly.
He wants us all to be ministers.
right.
But even that, it looks different.
Right.
And so, I mean, read
'Cause
through the
people have
New
different
Testament.
personalities
Read,
and all kinds of all
read
kinds of
through
stuff.
the early church and see how this person served the church and how this person served the church. And they all had the same mind, the same goal, but it looked different. And I mean, even the teachers had different ways of teaching. You read
Right.
Paul's letter, they're different than John's letters. And
And different than James.
yeah, and that's the beauty of the church, is that it's not a mold that like everyone's exactly the same and everyone lines up and does this and that. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. And I
Right.
love that.
Exactly.
But it's so easy to say that but not live it out.
Mm.
It's so easy to say, to remind each other not to compare, but it's so hard to live it out because we compare all the time. And all of us have to answer to God, not to each other.
Exactly.
We don't answer
Yep.
to each other, we answer to God. And so what is he asking of you? Well, he asks you to serve him. He asks you to follow him. He asks you to crucify yourself,
Yes.
to take up your cross, to bear the bitter along with the sweet. Because again, back to, this is what I wanted to say. I remember now.
How
Hey,
about
it's
that?
back.
Back to what we mentioned last week. This world is not all there is.
Right.
This life you live is so important, but it's not all there is.
Right.
There's more to come. There's better to come. And if we live with that perspective,
See, you were supposed to say that now.
I was supposed to say that now.
Amen.
See?
Abby, that
See?
was profound.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Know your
Thank
why.
you.
That's right.
Know your
peeps.
why and trust God to show you how.
Ooh.
That's
That was
that's
perfect.
That was-
that's
That's
what we need
awesome.
to live. That's
You guys
how
got
we
that
need to
right.
live.
Before we wrap it up, just a reminder, Abigail,
Yes, dear.
to just like slightly add on to what she said,
Please.
is if you feel like you're insignificant or what you're doing is not enough, it does. That's not what matters. Just as an encouragement. I mean, Jesus called the low, the
Yeah.
lowest of the low, the fishermen, the tax collectors.
Yeah.
I mean, so just remember that God can use you in whatever you're doing. And so know your why. Our why's
Know
music.
your why.
What's your why?
Yes.
Well,
Boom.
no. Our why is not music. Our how is music.
Or how?
Know your
Abby,
why.
Right. Thank you. You got me.
we
and
know
trust
what
God to
we
show
knew
you
what
how.
you.
Well, yeah,
I
they know
I
what I was
just
saying.
Clarifying what you're
Clarifying.
saying.
It's okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
Anyway, thank
you
y'all
guys
for tuning in,
for
sticking to
joining
the
us.
end.
Episode 5 of
Yes.
Let's Be3D. If you want to come connect with us on socials, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Twitter,
Also,
YouTube.
check out the YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Well, wherever you're listening to. Subscribe to Let's B3D so you can listen to every episode, all that jazz.
Woo.
That's right.
Yes.
And if you want to come see us live, we got some dates on the calendar.
We
Check
do.
that out at thefamilysowell.com. And also, if you'd like to become an investor, a supporter for the Family Sowell, there are ways to do that via thefamilysowell.com. So go there, hit join the fam, and you can
Yes.
select the amount that you want to give. And the more you give, the more we like to give back to you.
Yes.
Some cool benefits, and you can watch the visual to this podcast, free coffee mugs, exclusive behind-the-scenes content on our
Merch
YouTube videos,
discounts,
merch discounts,
song requests,
yeah,
privileges,
a bunch of
benefits.
cool stuff. So you guys
I'm
go
trying
check
to
that
say a
out,
cool way
and
to
we
say
will be
that.
back for episode 6 on Let's Be 3D. We love you, fam. Y'all, hope y'all have a great week.
Keep pressing on.
Stay humpy
Keep
on your hump
walking.
days.
There you go.
Sorry.
Good song, Abby.
Soldier, keep moving.
I was thinking Trouble.
Oh,
I was thinking Press On by Building.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking
I haven't
Toby
heard that
Mac
song in
song.
forever.
Building for Tonight.
I was
Yeah.
trying to remember. I don't know the name of the song. I just know the keep walking, soldier, keep moving on.
I
Oh,
know.
that's
Keep
Toby Mac.
walking. Yeah, that's what I said. I knew it was Toby Mac. I just can't think of
Toby
the.
Knack. Toby Mac. All right. fam.
Anyway.
Love y'all. We'll see you next episode.
Yes.
And as always,
Peace,
love, fam.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions or standard of the Family Sowell. Have a lovely day.